Yep.
All right. Welcome back to the Black Swamp Basketball Podcast presented by the Gherkin Companies, along with Dave Krauss and Tory Strock. I'm Lynn Groll, and have some more basketball royalty with us this week. Former St. John's Jesuit head coach Ed Heintschel. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
Coach, what do you think about him referring to you as royalty?
Hardly. Every time anything like that comes up, I always refer to my first year as coach when we were 4 and 15. And I learned everything I needed to know about loyalty and all that, and the importance of talent.
But the other 39 were pretty good, though, Coach.
Not too bad. Yeah, we did all right.
Number 4 all-time in Ohio in wins.
Well, we got to correct that.
Oh, we got to correct that. There's been a discrepancy.
Yeah, it's now 6th.
Okay.
Because a couple of guys who are still active went up and have bypassed him now. So, I'll give you a quicker list of those since you mentioned it. Guys that we all know, Coach Dick Cordo-Crass from Clyde, still the leader, 890. In second place now is Norm Pearson down at South Webster. He's at 835. Joe Petroselli, Kettering Alder, 831. Bobby Krasancic, he's still coaching at Mentor. He's at 751. Bob Von Cannell at Dover, who's retired, but he's now totally out of it. He was helping his son who took over, and he's at 741. Then Coach Heintschel with his 725.
So I need to come out of retirement.
There you go. Once you go, I can do the math there, 890. That's not too many years to get there.
I don't think I have it in me, to tell you the truth.
Coach Schoen's not going to step aside and let you sneak back in here for a little bit?
Well, maybe I'd go somewhere else.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I would never.
Well, you're in Michigan now. Michigan wins would not count in Ohio.
No, well, I wouldn't coach in Michigan.
There we go.
No. I'm an Ohio boy.
That's right. We're going to get into that a little bit in terms of your background. So,
okay.
Well, go way back, because I read
Yeah.
your father passed when you were, 2 years old?
Yeah, my mom was widowed with a 7-year-old daughter, 5-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son, myself, and my brother was 5 months.
Wow.
And she was a tough lady. She
Has to be.
She saw us through, yeah.
And you grew up on the east side of Toledo.
I did. I went to St. Louis School, which is, the whole parish is closed now. It's a soup kitchen, St. Louis Helping Hands, and they serve people, people off the street and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it was an interesting neighborhood. It was a pretty tough neighborhood, but we survived it all.
How did your mom survive?
She was tough. I mean, she was a depression, person. She was a young person during the Depression, and in my experience with talking to those folks, they have a really hard edge to them, pretty tough people. And I know she didn't work at all for a while, and the Social Security took care of her, and then she went back to work. I was probably mid-grade school, and we were latchkey kids. We were latchkey kids before about anybody.
Yeah. Well, the east side of Toledo makes you a tough guy too. So that didn't hurt.
Well, that's the reputation. I kind of emboldened that because I'm really not that tough.
It's funny. So, what at some point, what got you the interest in athletics? Mom, we're growing up without a dad. So what kind of spurred that on?
I remember my mom taking us in the backyard, my brother and me, and we had those old Hercules fences with those steel poles that come down.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, let's say this is 10 yards. And she explained to us how you had four opportunities to get a first down, stuff like that. So she did the best she could to open us up to athletics. Huh. And she was very competitive when she played euchre, man. It was all out, baby. She never cussed other than playing euchre. So obviously we all play euchre too, my brother and I and our family. So, but in those days, I think there was a certain amount of respect everybody had for elders and all that kind of thing. I wouldn't say it couldn't happen today, but I think in that day, at least for us four kids, we had a tremendous amount of respect for her, and if she asked us to do something or that kind of thing, we did it.
Do you cuss when you play euchre, Coach?
No. Well, once in a while maybe. Now, coaching basketball, that's a whole nother story.
What was your favorite sport, your first love when you were little? Was it football?
I've always loved baseball. I think baseball is the greatest. It's a beautiful environment. If the weather isn't good, you go home. It's kind of like basketball, but you're outdoors. I like being outdoors. So, but I was a Tiger fan. I mean, the only team I root for, other than St. John's, is the Tigers.
Huh.
And I can still remember walking into Tiger Stadium the first time. The beautiful green grass. They were playing the Orioles with Jim Gentile and all those ancient guys. You guys don't remember
Brooks
those
Robinson?
guys? Yeah, Brooks might have been a rookie.
Okay.
But baseball is a real love. Still is. And I'm so glad Verlander's back with him. I think that's the appropriate way I wanted to see him conclude his career.
Don't get off track here, Coach Strock, because I know you're.
I'm a
for
Guardian
the
Cleveland
Tigers.
Indian fan, something by 2 Tigers. This might not be fun.
I love them too, Coach.
Yeah,
I love them too. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're great. I mean, they have a great opportunity to have
Yes,
a
they
good
do.
year. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. See who the Dodgers sign.
No kidding.
Or trade for.
Yeah, right.
So at some point, from the 10 yards, Mom taught you how that worked,
Yeah.
and for first downs.
Yeah.
When did the ball become, the bouncing ball become?
I played when I was real young.
Yeah.
There's a YMCA down the street. It was just an outdoor court.
Yeah.
We played down there. My buddy lived on a street that had an alley behind it, and he had a hoop up, and we'd go over and play all the time. I mean, all the time. And I would have cracks in my fingers because of the cold, and but we didn't care. We'd shovel off the alley and hoop it up.
That's awesome.
Wow. Was coaching something you thought about at a young age?
Yeah,
Did you always want to be a coach?
Yes, I wrote a paper my sophomore year of high school. I was a guidance counselor, what I wanted to do, and as a guidance counselor and basketball coach. So it was in my blood at an early age. I went to, when I was in college, Good Shepherd over on the east side. It's the big churches. You come down the high-level bridge, it's right down there. A guy named Dick Simon coached it. He was a very, very good coach at the CYO level, and I helped him. In fact, when I was at St. Francis, after we were eliminated from the tournament, in those days you could practice until the end of the tournament,
Correct.
so everybody's on even ground. And Jim Kubacki was my high school coach, and I went in and coached the underclassmen my senior year. I did rebounding drill. I still remember that.
Wow. That's a name that, you go back to some of the Catholic schools, Jim Kubacki at St. Francis. Give me some other guys that were at the various schools.
Jim Kubacki was at Stritch.
Okay.
And I was on the east side. I really wanted to go to Cardinal Stritch. Actually, I wanted to go to Central, but Stritch was just opening. When they just opened that school, they wouldn't allow east side kids go to Central because there were so many Central grads. They would have sent all their kids to Central, and Stritch wouldn't have been able to get off the ground. So Stritch was where you had to go if you wanted to go to a co-ed high school, and that's really where I wanted to go. But my mom thought I should have more male influence because of my father's situation, so she sent me to St. Francis.
Okay.
Did you have a father figure growing up, Coach?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons I went into coaching, frankly, is that all the coaches, I probably could name them all, maybe not everybody, but almost all, they were male influences in my life and very important to me. One of my half-brothers, my family's a little complicated. My dad was married, had 4 children. His wife died and married my mom, so he had a total of 8 kids. And in his first family, his oldest was a priest, and actually a Monsignor. Wow. And so I'm sure my mom relied on him for consultation on what to do with her crazy sons. But he was a big influence on me. In fact, I thought about priesthood for quite a while, but you meet these girls and your mind gets distracted.
That's funny.
That's great. And you played in the first, did I read right, the first St. John's, St. Francis game that was ever played?
I did. St. John's had juniors, but they played in the City League, I think, in everything but football because of the maturation thing and the fear of injury. But we played at St. Francis. I still remember the game vividly. I believe we got up 10-0 and won by 8. So after the initial, thrust there, it became a close game. Don Coleman played on St. John's. He went to Michigan and played for the Saints. There's a kid named Gill who really lit us up, but I didn't guard him.
Yeah, clear that up.
But I remember it vividly. Yeah, it was interesting.
Did you play any football in school, Coach?
No, I wanted to, but my mom was afraid I'd get hurt. I was big. I mean, I'm same size as I was in 8th grade. I mean, I was a big kid.
Wow.
They were hopeful I would get to be 6'4" or 5, but stopped early. I had hairy legs. When we'd cut teams, man, we'd say, okay, that kid's young. He looks young. He's going to keep growing. This guy, he's got the hairy legs. We'll keep him, but we don't know if he's going to.
The hairy legs were always a key.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So once out of St. Francis, and where'd you go then, and what did you continue to play? What happened then?
I went to St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana.
Right.
It was called College Division. It'd probably be Division II these days. And they had a good program. Jim Holstein was a coach, and I think he's from Cincinnati, maybe.
Okay.
I heard. But he was the coach. A guy named Pavlov coached me. He was a baseball coach. Those guys would coach 2 sports at that level.
Sure.
And freshmen could not play varsity in those days. So they had 6, 7 scholarship guys, and then they had tryouts. And I got cut, but a guy quit, and they asked me if I wanted to come back. So I must have been one of the last guys quit. I had just gotten a haircut. In those days, it was, long hair. I wasn't crazy long, but it was long. And I had just gotten a haircut, and Coach said, Coach, one thing, Ed, you're going to have to get a haircut. Coach, I just got one. Well, you got to get another one. So I did. And I was one of the last guys on the team. My buddy, Paul something, he was from the East Coast. He and I would do the play-by-play and color commentary
at the end of the bench?
on the bench.
That's great.
Yeah.
Coach, did you ever have any hair length rules, facial hair rules during your coaching career at St. John's?
The school pretty much, took care of that with their grooming rules. I think those are out the window now when I look down the hallway when I visit. I know I had a kid who was very mature. He had very hairy legs, and he grew a mustache at a young age. But I didn't care. It was no big deal.
Yeah. So out of St. Joe, after you get out of there,
I only went there for 2 years.
okay, then you went.
I came back to UT.
To UT, okay, very good. So once you leave UT, you stay in Toledo and coach where?
Well, I called. What did I call first? St. Francis, my alma mater. Called Stritch, called Central, because I knew those coaches, and just to see if, because I just wanted to get in anywhere. Sure. I knew it was going to be a process, and I can't remember who. I think it might have been Kubaki. Jim told me, well, call Tim Smith at St. John's.
Okay.
He has 2 freshman teams, and he's often looking for a B team coach. And so I talked to Tim. I went out, had dinner with him and Joe Zernicke, the athletic director at the time. And at that time, I had longish hair, and I think I had a full beard. And they didn't say anything, but I said, I'm going to clean up a little bit. Got a little bit of haircut, shaved into a Van Dyke, it became a Fu Manchu, and then what I have now. So I coached freshmen for a year. I taught at OLPH, where right by the old McCully, now Toledo Christian School on the trail.
Okay.
I taught there for a year, coached their 8th grade team, and coached the freshman team. And then the fellow that was the JV coach went into business, and I was hired as an English teacher and freshman football coach and JV basketball coach, which I did for 5 years. Then they named me head coach.
Was your inclination to stay in the Toledo area?
I've never, I was married. I married a Toledo girl, and never looked at other jobs. Other people didn't look at me. I didn't have any. I felt that high school coaching was true educating, and I've always viewed myself as an educator first. And all the stuff that I promoted in the classroom, accountability, self-discipline, all those kind of things, I applied to everything I did at St. John's, whether it was counseling or teaching or coaching. I was athletic director for 25 years. So that was always a cornerstone for me.
High school seniors, uncertain that college is right for you? Concerned about the cost of higher education? At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods even without a degree. That's a good living straight out of high school with no tuition debt. Starting pay between recent college grads and those with high school diplomas is closer than you might think. So if you enjoy teamwork, working outdoors, and being part of something meaningful, consider your options at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show, and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine.
So when you took over the St. John program after those 5 years as the JV coach, we're talking like 1979-80 was your first years of varsity coaching. You already mentioned your record, but as you went into that job, what was some things you felt the program needed?
Well, the first thing I did, Tim had a lot of success.
Sure he did.
And he was a great coach. He was a great XO guy. I really appreciated that. I made an appointment with Bob Nichols because Tim had played all matchup zone. He has little towels, and people remember that. Different colors meant different zones. And he ran the shuffle. And I thought the shuffle was a very mechanical thing, and you reverse the ball, and you go to the other side as you ran through it. And I thought it was great if you didn't have a whole lot of talent. But we had some young talent coming up, and so I was interested in the passing game. So I made an appointment with Coach Nichols, went in and talked to him, and told him what my thoughts were and what the kids had been doing over the years. And he said, if you can sell what you want to do, you can do anything. Mm-hmm. You can play any kind of thing you want to do. So we went to man. I played almost all man through my years, very little zone, and we ran passing game, motion offense, which was really basically controlled chaos. We screened, movement without the ball, player movement, ball movement was our creed. So, the first year was really rough. I remember the first win was at Stritch, ironically. And they were still in the City League at the time.
Wow.
And we beat them in a close game. And by the end of the year, we were pretty good. We played sophomores and juniors, 4 and 15. I remember the Toledo, it doesn't make any difference. One of the TV guys called us the hapless Titans. I have never forgotten that.
It wasn't Sensenstein, was it?
No. Gary does our play.
Yeah, I know he does.
I never know what's going on, but no, just kidding.
Wasn't Jim Tishy, was it?
No, I know the name actually if I heard it, but you got to go back farther. I mean, those guys are young compared to what when I first started. But and then we were 17-4 my second year. We won the first blue division, which was red and blue division in the City League. We won the blue division and beat Macomber in the city championship, and I became really smart.
Yes, sir.
Just like that.
Yep.
Was that kind of your arrival, or where you felt like the program took that step?
Well, it was a step. It was a step. We had never been there before, so it was definitely a step. And we had great players. I mean, Brian Miller and Bob Orcher were our guards, and they had played as sophomores, and they both went to well, one went to UT Borchard and one went to Bowling Green Miller, and they both started there and had great careers there. So, we were going to be good. It just had to take some time. And then I would say, well, we got greedy, right? I mean, we played in 6 state tournaments in my time, and somebody told me now, because it's disappointing when you lose your crush, right? And they said, now, if I had told you in November you'd be playing in Columbus, would you be? Yeah, I would take that. But you get greedy as you go along. You want more and more and more. So while the city championship was great, and I never thought about Columbus forever, never until we went there. In fact, I didn't go to the state tournament games because I just said, I don't want to go down there and get depressed. So I would say a rival really was in, we knocked on the door. 91, 92, 93 went to the regional. And then 92, 93, the third year, we knocked the wall down and got to Columbus.
Right.
Was there ever a time in your early years, your first few years, you ever envisioned doing that for 40 years?
No, ironically, 83, I was about ready to get out of coaching because I was athletic director too. It was really tough, but I had a really fun team that year. Don Muhart was the leader. Rich Mitchell was a kid who was, it was a good team. It was just fun to be around. And I started seeing the relationships with players develop. Before that, I'm not sure that I was as aware of it, but once that happened, then you get kind of locked in. And there's always another guy coming along. I'd like to see him through. And when I left, there were 3 great kids, all football player basics, but they were great kids. And I think Mike would have made a splash in the state tournament, but it was COVID. So I was really glad I wasn't involved in that.
Yeah.
But I almost got out in 83, and we had a great year. And I went and told the assistant who I talked to him about maybe, applying and all that. I said, man, I just had a change of heart. I want to stay, work with these guys. It's a lot of fun. And so that was it.
That's great.
And I just went until I couldn't take it anymore.
So the winning becomes pretty sustained and constant. So, oftentimes, that complacency can set in. So how did you guard against that?
Well, we had 7 years in a row where we won 20 more games. And I'm really proud of that.
Yes.
But we had great players. And we never talked about winning. I never talked about winning. I said we'd do as best as we can and get where we want to go. And that was kind of the euphemism for Columbus, or now Dayton. But I never dwelled on it. I never dwelled on winning. I haven't really sat down and really reviewed my career other than I wrote a book, which was really terrible. But I did that as a catharsis, just kind of process everything for myself. But winning, we didn't talk about winning, but man, I'll tell you, we did. Yes. I can remember this week in the Blade archives, they had a anniversary of us losing to Scott in the city championship game in 06. And I remember going in the locker room and I kicked everybody out. Everybody but the players. And I just really got into their grill because I really felt that they were content because Scott was good and we played them tough. I mean, 6 games, maybe 6 points, something like that. But I went absolutely ballistic. And I took a chance because I thought, hey, this backfired. This could be bad. About 2 weeks later in the district, and that was the greatest thing about the city Final Four in the district. You see the same teams 2 weeks later. In the district, we beat by like 16. Lights out. So it worked. But it was risky.
Coach, this may be a tough question, did you love to win more or hate to lose more?
Hate to lose.
More than you love to win?
Without question, yeah. I don't think that losing really ground at me, but I just hated it. It's like losing in euchre, 10-9, unacceptable. But our toughest loss, it was in '94. We played Jackson Maslin over in Maslin Jackson over in Akron or Canton. It was Canton, I think, which is ridiculous. We go 2.5 hours and they go 20 minutes. But that's the way it is if you're in Northwest Ohio.
Yep.
But in fact, Bosley, the kid he played at Ohio State for a minute.
Jamie.
He drove baseline and laid the ball in the basket in overtime to beat us. And they had played zone the whole time. We just couldn't shoot. It was one of those nights we lost in overtime by 1 or something.
Give me a few guys you had on your team.
Denny Amrine.
Yeah.
Coleman was a junior. Nishan.
Jay Larinaga at that time
Jay
or not?
Jay had graduated. It was a year after Jay. But it was a good team. We had Jake Holmes. Son plays for Northview right now. Scott Mullen. We were good. We were really good. We were better than them. We just couldn't shoot. And so that was just disappointing. But most of the time when we lost, it is what it is. It takes a while to get over it, but I hate it. I hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Take me through the old City League when you first started, because my goodness, there were some outstanding players.
It was ridiculous. It truly
to get a
was.
start as a head coach, that wasn't easy.
Yeah, you got Kim Leonard at Rogers and the Macumber guys and the Scott guys and Libby. I mean, everybody. I remember we took a team over to Woodward in '99, and Woodward was not a doormat, but they weren't very good. But they had 2 guards and a big kid, and we barely won with a really, really good team. And you had to be ready to go every night. It was so tough. So many great games. We were the last Toledo team to beat Jimmy Jackson's Macumber team.
Really?
And so we're playing them his junior year. He went undefeated. The only team he lost to was the kid that played for Georgia Tech, Kenny Anderson, maybe? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played
Oh,
at
right.
Georgia. They played in the Beach Ball Classic, and they beat him his senior year. Otherwise, he won all the way through. So his junior year, we're playing them, and we have, we seat 1,400 maybe. There were over 2,200 people in the gym. No fire marshal today, but people were everywhere, standing everywhere. And I was sitting there during the JV game, and the place was packed. And kids were coming in with Eastwood jackets and all kind of kids they could come to see us play or me coach.
Yeah.
They were there to watch Jimmy, and we beat them. It was an incredible game. The toilet paper came out of the stands on the first basket, and it was really intense and hotter than heck. And it was just a great environment for a win. Jimmy we played all over the country, and Jimmy was the best player we ever played against.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. I don't know if people totally appreciate it, but Hobson, you go right down the line. All the high schools had great players. So it was a tough outing every night. You had to be ready to play. And they established that Final Four, as I mentioned. So at one time, they had 2 divisions, red division, blue division. The 2 champions of those divisions would play off. Now, the red division had Macumber, Scott, and DeVilbiss in it, which is overwhelming. The blue had St. Francis, St. John's. Central was in the red too. But there were 7 teams in the blue and 6 teams in the red. And every time they voted to switch it up, the vote was always 7-6. Nobody wanted to deal with Scott and Macumber and those guys anymore, and you had to. But it was such a great league and great coaches.
Yeah.
Really competitive. We always felt if you could get out of the district, which meant getting past City League schools at the end of the day, you had a shot at getting Columbus, because the regional would be less difficult typically than that. The district was barren. We drew, and I'm not belittling anybody, but we drew for the tournament this week. There's 6 teams in the region. No, 8 teams. 8 teams in the region. 8 teams.
They're automatically in the district.
There's no sectional. So our district looks like what used to be a sectional.
Yeah. Coach, let's go back. We follow a guy online that has got some dialogue among us when we bring in different people. And from different counties, and this guy had went around all of Northwest Ohio and selected the starting 5 from every county in Northwest Ohio. So here's Lucas County.
Okay.
Dennis Hobson out of Bowsher. Kelvin Ramsey, Maycomber. Jimmy Jackson, Maycomber.
Yeah.
Now we're going back. Steve Mix,
I remember.
Rogers, and then Watt Piakowski at Woodward.
Yeah.
There's no St. John guys on there.
No.
I'd be ticked.
Well, that's one man's opinion. So.
Coach, add 2 guys to that right now from St. John's.
Man, I hate doing
That's not fair, is it?
No. I mean, Vince Williams is in the NBA right now. Actually tore his knee up the other night. But Brian Roberts was great. Shane Colmine, Jay Larinaga, Nishawn Coleman. I mean, you could go right down the list. BJ, Hillsland. I mean, we had great. Hey, we didn't win because of coaching. I readily admit that. What I demanded was that those good players play hard, and that the other guys, play their roles and do what they're supposed to do to make the teams. It was always about team, and I always made a big point about assists and helping the team in whatever way you can. But it was, it was. I would get after them, and we do that at practice. I always tell them practice is our rehearsal. Game night is the show, and I don't want to get after you in front of a bunch of people. So just do what the heck you're supposed to do. It ain't that hard.
The 6 trips to Columbus, Dayton, wherever. Well, you all went to Columbus. You're 6 trips.
And St. John Arena, which is the best.
Yeah, isn't that amazing how that always comes
Every
up?
time.
Yeah, St. John's is.
They should still play it there.
Yeah, I totally concur with that, Coach. Well, let's talk about '93. The 3 times you did get to the final game, and unfortunately, things happened. And you lost some tight ones, but '93. You mentioned Nashawn and Jay Larinaga were on that team. You lost to Elder in the final, if you remember that game. You had beaten Cleveland Heights, who was the defending state champion prior in the semi.
Yeah.
But on that LaSalle, on that Elder team was a current Division I coach who's pretty well known.
Oh, I know this. I just saw it the other day. Dang it.
You remember him, Coach?
Who was it?
Pat Kelsey.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember Pat Kelsey.
Yeah, Pat Kelsey is head coach at Louisville, and he was on that Elder team. So, and that year you went to actually Bowling Green was your regional trip that year, so that was easy.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Yeah,
that was a nice one. There were twice we went to Columbus where I felt we had the 3 best players on the court, and '93 was one of them with Denny and Amrine and Jay and Nashawn. The other one was '04. Which was an interesting situation, but we had BJ, Brian Roberts, and Zach Hillsland. And I mean, those guys went to big-time Division I college programs and played and contributed mightily. So, but the 04 game, the 04 team, I'm making no excuses. There are no excuses, but there can be reasons. We had played the year before, 03, we never expected to go down. It was kind of a shock to us that we went down. So Brian was a junior, and we played against Drew Lavender and another big kid from there that went to Oklahoma someplace.
Name forgets.
And Cornley was an underclassman. And we played them, and it was a bloodbath. It was like 51-48 or something. It was crazy. We lost. Well, the next year, we go down to Columbus, and they're there again.
Yep. We're talking about Columbus Brookhaven.
We're going to play them. And so I guess they went to different they have an extra regional down there, district, whatever. And so we played them the first round, and I mean it was World War II, World War I. And we beat them. It was a close game. We were beat up, and we played Hamilton. And I know our guy begged him, yelled at him. You got to be ready. Our mantra always was, at that point, at the regional point, they're either really, really good or they're playing really, really well. Doesn't make any difference. You better be ready to play.
Yes.
And I think our guys thought, well, we beat Brookhaven, we have it. And Hamilton got up early. They had 5 ball handlers that handled the ball really well. We needed a shot clock. But we made a comeback at the end, but fell short by 3 points. So those were disappointing losses. But
I went in my research in there. I found something kind of caught me off guard, and I kind of chuckled a little bit. But here you are playing in the state final against Hamilton, as you mentioned. One of your referees that night, Joe Horvath. Right from Toledo.
Which
was probably not a good thing.
Second game that Joe had.
Really?
And you're never supposed to have that.
Yeah.
He had us against Woodward in Toledo here, and then he had us down there. But I know Joe real well.
Yeah.
He was married to my niece for a while, and he's a great guy.
Oh yeah. He was a good official. Yeah.
Did he tell you he got a hole-in-one at Inverness?
Oh yeah, on the number 18. He always told everybody that story.
Yeah, I figured.
A par 4 at 18.
I've been there.
He's a big guy. He can hit it.
Yeah, he can whack it. But that you bring that up.
Yeah.
I never like seeing referees from your own area in your game because
that's unusual, right? I mean, I don't know what.
It should never have happened, and it happened in one of our trips down to Columbus too. It happened, and I didn't like it at all. I still think that's a mistake. But and then your '96 team, there was a Floyd on that one.
Yeah, Eric is the best offensive rebounder in the foul lane I've ever seen.
Wow,
just big, strong guy. He'd use his quickness to get inside position. He could jump out of the gym. Yeah. That was a team that was a little bit of a surprise. We didn't have a superstar. Great athlete, Ed Zimke, one of the best skilled athletes in the history of St. John's. Loran Sims, who athletically was extremely gifted. John Walker was a big kid, but we weren't real deep. And but they knew how to play, and they played together, and they were tough. I mean, one of the toughest perimeter defensive teams we ever had. And they had an eraser in the back, John Walker, and he'd swat shots. But it was a very, very rewarding year. Really great kids who really played to their max.
Young man that we didn't talk about earlier in terms of all your NBA background is John Amici.
Yeah, big shot, yeah. Yeah, I got a letter from Bob Martin, who played at Student Central in the day and played in England, and he knew a guy named, I think Joe Forbes was his name, I believe. And so Bob sent around a letter, hey, there's a kid from England who's interested in coming to the United States and play. He's 6'10", 240. So I let Bob know that, I'd be interested in that. We never had anybody big. John came over and visited St. Francis and St. John's for split up a week. And he went back to England. I got a call from John's mother that he was interested in coming to St. John's. So he came, and he went to Vanderbilt. He was recruited by Ed Forber. Ed.
I can't remember.
Recruited by Vanderbilt. Went there, didn't like it, wanted to get out. Went through the recruiting process and ended up at Penn State.
All right.
And I think he was all Big Ten. And was not drafted, but signed as a free agent with Cleveland, and actually started his rookie year for Cleveland. I think he played for Fratello, who had a birthday yesterday. But
Mike Fratello.
PTI told me that. But John was John came in the summer time on a trip to visit the schools, as I mentioned. And I go over and see him. He's in the gym. He's shooting the threes and knocking them down pretty well. I said, so you're a three-point shooter? He goes, yeah. I said, you're awfully big. He goes, well, I have 2 7-footers on the team, too. I said, oh, that explains it. So in those days, we actually played with our back to the basket. So he learned that. He worked extremely hard. I mean, he worked hard, really hard, because he was not a gifted athlete, but tough mentally, and worked himself into a point where he became an NBA player. This is a great fun fact, I think. So he played out of the league. He was never in great shape, and went back to Europe and played, and got a call from Doc Rivers. and Doc's starting a team. He got the head coaching job at Orlando, and he's trying to get some really good guys, good people, and start the team. I remember the Wallace kid from Detroit was one of the guys he got. And but anyway, so John went and played at Orlando, and like his first year there, he had a really, really good year. He averaged like 10-7, which for him was really good. The Lakers came calling. They had free agency. They wanted to get him because he could shoot. So he'd be a four-man who could shoot and pull people away from Shaq. So he goes out there, he comes back, I said, so how did it go? He goes, I don't think so. I had a really hard time with Shaq. I said, Shaq? Yeah, I just don't think I want to go out there. I said, okay. Besides, Orlando gave me the offer, sign me. I think I owe it to them. I said, John, this is business. Baby, nobody owes anybody anything except for what you did yesterday. And so he stayed in Orlando, had a difficult time, got traded to Utah, and Jerry Sloan's the coach. And, he's a little intense, right? And he's mad at Meach. He's yelling at him, is basketball the most important thing to you? And John goes, no. So he was traded to the Knickerbockers, who released him. It was one of those. They have a trade and cut deal. Yeah. And so he was out of the NBA at that point. He's a great guy. He's a big wig in England and London and stuff, and he promotes English basketball. In fact, he spoke before the NBA game that was held in London this year, and he was the ambassador and spoke to the crowd before the game.
Coach, I know you'll say talent, and you were blessed to coach your share of talented players, but for someone that doesn't know you or know your history, what would you say are a couple of Ed Heintschel's greatest strengths as a coach? Brag on yourself a little bit.
We had success, so some of it had to be coaching. We had great players. I always put kids in a position to be successful. I wouldn't let them step out of what they thought they could do, what they needed to do, prevented them from doing things that they thought they could do but couldn't do. And so your job is to screen and rebound and be a tough guy. I loved having football players. We had some kids that were great, tough kids that really put us over the top. And the mix of basketball and football is good. It's hard to get other sports. I mean, a guy like, Hillsman played soccer. Hillsman was a great soccer player. But they don't commit because they want to play soccer year round. So we were able to get him. But putting kids in a position to be successful, demanding they play their roles. And we had parent meetings in those early days before they were mandatory. Yeah. And I just lay it out to them. I said, and I tried to be subtle and kind. And then finally,
that's the counselor in you.
Yeah, that's right. Warm and fuzzy. And finally, I just said, hey, listen, don't call, because I won't convince you that your son shouldn't play, and you won't convince me that he should. So it's a waste of time. Just have him talk to me. I'll tell him what he needs to do, and if he can do it, he does it. He plays. So I did not have a lot of parent situations, partly because we won. Because when you lose, my kid's the answer. You play my kid, it's going to take care of all your problems. But we won so much that that argument kind of went out the window.
Excellent.
You have some more state tournament factoids there?
Well, I just got a question for Coach about, if at the end of your career, when you decided to say, see you later, and you won your 725th, if you could go back to Ed Heintschel, age 30, what advice would you give that young man?
First of all, make sure you establish a little better relationship with your players. Make sure you have that going, and don't think that everything has to be perfect the first scrimmage. It's a process. If I had anything to tell a young coach, it's a process, man, and know where you want to be, but and develop steps to get there. But don't come unglued if you're not there day one. And I'll tell you, like the year that 06, 05 year when we went with Zimke and those guys, we lost late in the season to Scott. We went up and played Ann Arbor Pioneer, and had a guy named Lavelle Blanchard who was a freshman, and he had not played varsity. He came out, played, and got 27 points against us and almost beat us. He played at Michigan later. So we almost lost that game, and I'm thinking, oh, this is brutal. You know, what the heck? And all of a sudden, they caught fire. And I'll tell you, you've been down that road. When you're playing really well, your concentration, your focus is so terrific. You can see a speck on the wall, like it's 3 by 3. So that was a really rewarding thing. But it's a process. You got to take your time.
Yeah.
You can't, I like looking at the season, looking back at it and seeing the progression. And that COVID year would have driven me crazy, because it had been really difficult to establish a progression for where you wanted to get to.
Do you miss coaching at all?
No, I don't. I really don't. I coached 1 year more than I had intended, but we had lost Vince Williams and Houston King, who was a great player for us, and a really good team. And I didn't want it to look like I was bailing when the talent left. And we had good players. I mentioned Brady Lichtenberg, who played at Cincinnati, and Thomas Zuros, who played at UT, and Jaden McKinstry, who played at Bowling Green. All good football players, but they were also good basketball players and good guys. So I left Mike with a pretty good group to work with, and then they got the COVID, situation where they couldn't have the tournament. So, no, I don't miss it. I miss some of the guys. The competitive situations. I love the tough. I did not enjoy the blowouts. I did not like it. Didn't enjoy it. But those tough games, when you just didn't know, and it came down to last minute things, I mean, they were great. They were really fun.
I'm taking it you're not a fan of athletes that specialize in one sport, from what you've been saying.
No. St. John's, and at the time I coached, we had 800 kids in the school, but we encouraged kids to play multiple sports. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What about, you've been you're in the game a long time, Coach, and whether it be the coaches that coached with you, or maybe players that got into the profession. So talk about your coaching tree, so to speak. Who's out there?
Yeah, we have a few. Well, Jay Larinaga ended up being an NBA coach,
Yes,
and he's still with the Clippers. I don't think it's anything about me. I think he was pretty well connected. But Thomas Carr played for us, and he's at Louisville with Kelsey.
Okay.
He started with him at, where did Kelsey come from? North Atlantic?
Charleston
Mid-Atlantic,
or
something.
North Carolina, I can't remember. Winthrop.
Winthrop.
He started there.
Yeah.
So he was on his staff, so he brought Thomas to Louisville with him. We've got, I don't know, we might have another college assistant or two, but I'm not sure of that. But at high school we have a great player, Austin Gardner, who's at Marietta, and has turned that program around. They're winning
He's done great.
He is a worker.
I had a good fortune to be around him at Finley. So
he's
what
a
a
good kid, man.
Yeah. Wow.
John Walker, who I alluded to, 05, I think. He's at a school in Las Vegas. I went out to watch Vince play in the G League a couple of years ago, and we drove out in the desert and visited John, who's one of the great all-time entertainers, could have been a stand-up comedian, and he's doing a great job there. And then more locally, we have TJ Gillespie at Maumee. He's done a really good job. He won double figures this year.
Yeah.
First time in a long time. BJ's at Start, and they're doing really well. Sean Scott at Stritch, and he's had a good year. And then the two Mikes, Floyd at Central and Sean at St. John's. So they've done a good job. And I'm happy they're coaching, because I figured I probably drove all the love of basketball out of them by being such a jerk of a coach.
That's a tough game for you to go to then, because you got some banging on both sides that you.
Well, BJ Start played at Stritch.
Okay.
So I was able to go out there, and then BJ played at St. John's, so I got to see him a couple times. Saw TJ the other day. They played Eastwood
Okay.
and won that game. And then, Mike Schoner a little easier to see.
But when you sat there in that crowd and watched Mike versus Mike, that
Well, I sit in
that
the
has
end-
to be fun.
I sit in the end zone, right? Yeah, no, they've done a great job, and they definitely love the game, and I'm really happy for them, proud of them, and glad they keep it going.
Yeah. Well, then there's younger Floyd who turned alien on us and got into officiating.
Yeah, John was big time. He had Mike Koszewski before he retired. I think he told me he teed him up, but I really don't believe that. But John, he jets all over the
Yes,
country.
he
And he
does.
does a lot of Big Ten games, which
Yes, he
means
does.
West Coast travel now and all that. He's got a real great demeanor about him. I've seen him officiate a couple times. I went up, watched him Michigan game, and he's slower than faster in officiating. So he blows a whistle. I don't know if he's trying to figure out what he's going to call, but no, I'm kidding. But he doesn't speed up the game any more than he has to. So, yeah, he's a very, very good official.
You didn't get the invite to Hawaii when he went out there this
I
year?
told him I'd go with him, and I told him I'd carry his bags for him.
40 years at St. John's. What kept you there?
I love the school. Those who have been educated by Jesuits get pretty much, integrated into the philosophy, education, the whole man, and men for others, and all the catchphrases that they have that are universal. I mean, they have 50 high schools in the States and overseas more, 40 or 50 colleges, universities that are Jesuits. So they're great educators. I bought into it, and I didn't love every single minute of it, but most of them. They were good years.
Ever consider another offer? Did you get another offer to leave
No, I
St.
really
John's
didn't.
or
I
no?
didn't put myself out there, and I figured, they said, well, he's not going to move from there. They probably thought I was getting paid a lot of money, but I wasn't. I always said the Jesuits take the vow of poverty and make their employees live it. But I'm sorry, Father Livens. No, it's a great educational group, and they do a great job, and I was proud to be a part of it.
I'm curious your thoughts, because you grew up when it was the City League,
Yeah.
Three Rivers Athletic Conference, and
Yeah.
now they're up in Detroit.
Yeah.
What is the perfect scenario for the Toledo schools in your mind? You were an
Well,
AD for a
to
while
have
too.
have the city leagues big enough and strong enough to field teams from the freshman through the JV. That's really what broke it up. And I love the city league. I mean, I loved it. It was awesome. I mean, there were people from all over the city, every nook and cranny of Toledo coming together and competing at a high level. I mean, I thought it was great for the community. We never had a problem. We played Scott High School in some of the biggest games in the history of the school and the history of the league. A lot at stake. City championships, district championships, huge. Never had a problem. Not one. And it wasn't even close. And I think part of it was that Ben and I respected each other, and the kids respected each other because of that. But that respect in the crossing the different cultures of the city was so important. And I feared when it fell apart that, it's kind of fallen, all together. I mean, you'd be hard convinced, kid today, how great Scott basketball was. And it was a standard. That's what we had to shoot for as a program, because you had to go through them to get anywhere. It was just the way it was.
Yeah.
Three Rivers, I thought, was a pretty good league. I didn't think it was long. I thought it was a very tenuous situation. I thought that the travel, now we're going to Detroit, but the travel and so forth, I just didn't think it ever really jived really well. And the NLL doesn't want Catholic schools, so we had to look at our options, and you could have formed a Catholic league in Ohio maybe, but it was incredible travel to Cincinnati and Cleveland. Detroit's closer than Lima Senior. They were in our league, so it's worked out. But you don't have attendance. People don't travel. Don't blame them.
Yeah.
The rivalry ceased to exist. It's a difficult situation, not the best. We're hoping that somehow we can work out something with the NLL and expand that league and maybe take in some other teams and make a three-tiered league. But that's who's to say.
Yeah. Challenge for you, Coach Krauss, and maybe Coach Heintschel can help us here. Can we get some past legends of the City League? I know we've discussed this, but we get Dennis Hobson back
Well,
and maybe we have a couple segments on this. But I think it'd be an awesome
City
couple
League,
segments.
What Coach is talking about, I remember vividly. I obviously never had to play against any of them,
Yeah.
but boy, did you respect the programs that came out of there,
Oh,
the
yeah.
coaches. Bart at Maycomber, Val Willig, Linka at St. Francis. You go on and on.
And then Bart went to, Leroy at Libby.
Yeah, Leroy
He
Pace.
had some great teams.
It just really, really great guys too.
Yeah.
Really awesome people.
You want to ask your gym question?
Hey, we might as well. One of the things we always like to talk about, Coach, is the different facilities. You mentioned St. John Arena right at the state level.
Yeah,
That's special.
yeah.
You talked about Anderson Arena. What a great venue, right?
Right.
Talk about some of your, other than St. John's, some of your favorite places that you coached and some of those City League games like at the Waite Fieldhouse and those places,
Well, the
right?
districts used to be held there. I lived on the east side at the time. I was a college student. I'd walk over to Waite and watch those games. It was DeVilbiss and Macomber and Scott primarily. But just incredible. Those field houses were always great. But the best one I thought was Libby. And most people you talk to that played in all those three, they'd say Libby was the nicest one. I love playing at Woodward and DeVilbiss. You ever been in those gyms?
They're really tiny.
Yeah, man. And DeVilbiss had that overhanging
Balcony,
wall.
yeah.
So you wanted to warm up you wanted to be going the opposite way from that at the end of the game. So if you had to throw a baseball pass, it wouldn't hit the balcony. It was that. And Woodward was narrow. It was just like a hallway. I don't even know. I don't think you get your heels down a 3-point line in the corners. So those were interesting, but they weren't great places. We played a lot of games at Rogers. I like Rogers. I love playing at Defiance when we had the junior high kids behind us on the stage yelling and screaming. That was always fun. I'm kidding, but the field houses, and I tell you, Central's a great place.
Oh, yeah.
Because they come in from up, and so you don't have people spilling popcorn on your coffee or anything like that. So, but yeah, Central's a great facility. We played North College Hill when they had OJ and all those guys. We played them, and it was down near Cincinnati, and they had a similar gym to
Is that Mason?
Central. No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but anyway, similar kind of thing where the fans were sitting from up top, which made it a lot better courtside.
Yeah.
But given my choice, I'd be at St. John Arena or Shot.
Yeah. I always said
Final
too,
Four.
if you put UD Arena in Columbus, nobody would complain a bit because that's a gorgeous place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Detroit, Dayton, you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, Brian Roberts played there, and I
Right.
went down several times to see him. And they treated their coach, it was Brian Gregory at the time, treated us so well, and they put you in great seats right in the corner, and the crowds were unbelievable. That band director they had, he was
Still
awesome,
there.
man. He was fired up all the time. The crowd. Well, that's why they play the NCAA
Exactly.
playing games here, right? I mean, it's just a can't
Dayton-
lose situation.
Dayton loves their basketball, that's
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you make of the new 7 divisions and everything that's going on with high
Well, I
school
mentioned,
basketball?
our district,
Yeah.
we don't have a sectional, we go right to district.
And you're traveling to
And traveling, yeah. I mean, the Division I is really bad.
Yes.
For the travel. But no, I don't. Now I heard they said that the state's considering a 4-division public school setup and a 2-division private school set up, which would be interesting. But no, I don't
I think it started in the Northeast. It's a Cleveland
yes,
area
yes,
discussion. I don't know how far it's going to go. But
Yeah, right.
yeah. Coach Schoen's doing a pretty good job this year.
Doing really
How
well.
far are the Titans going to go,
They're
Coach?
they're good enough. They're good enough.
Can they win the thing?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they have height. They play good defense, decent depth. You could use probably another guy or two. And I love the point guard. He is terrific. He's only a junior. They have a star that should hit big shots and did the other night against Detroit Catholic Central. It was tied and a race split into the lane and had a runner go in. And very reminiscent of what Jay did against Euclid in the regional eons ago. But it reminded me of that, the big player stepping up big time. And so he's got those ingredients. One bad night and you're done. So it's
One
tough.
bad quarter.
Yeah,
Can
that's
do you
right.
in.
That's
Yeah.
right. So, but yeah, he has a chance. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm good, Coach. We can't thank you enough, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, that was
Glad
great.
to be here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. It was
Great
fun.
job. Great job, Coach.
Yeah, great job. Congratulations on a great career. Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. Yeah, I am. I'm just, people say, what are you doing? I said, nothing, I'm retired. Isn't that the definition of retirement?
First time at Liberty Center?
It is.
It's a pretty nice little place.
It is.
It's hard to leave, Coach. It's hard to leave
Yeah,
here.
I'm sure it's a great, close-knit community.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's awesome.
And they love their Tigers on Friday night football
Do they?
games.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're starting to love them more on
Well, I thought
basketball,
you were
too.
talking
So.
about Detroit Tigers. So.
No, the Liberty Center Tigers. I'm not
We
talking
love
about
those
the
guys,
Tigers.
too.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Yeah.
Glad
Thank
to
you.
do it,
Thank you
guys.
so
Thanks,
much,
Coach.
Coach.
Glad to do it.
Appreciate it. We're going to try to get some City League guys. I think that'd be a great podcast. If some guys are listening that would like to join.
I just had a dinner with
Bill.
Dick Kroll and Bill Axe
They'd be great.
and Rick Caiaphas. Rick Caiaphas was in the Final Four as a coach and a referee.
And a referee. See, that's how dumb he is, though. It's dumb to coach. Then he got real stupid and then became a referee.
He was a
so-
good one, man. I tell you what, I get on him and he'd look at me and go, Ed, that's enough.
Well, if you can help us out with some guys, Coach Krauss will buy you some dinner sometime.
Oh, okay.
I can do that.
Down at Liberty Center here.
Well, no, we
Grill.
can go up to Michigan and eat.
Michigan, yeah, okay.
They got probably good fish and stuff up there.
Yeah, they have a place called Deck Down Under, which has great seafood.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at, people
Right up on
know
12.
you, so they'll take care of us.
I don't know about that. They don't know me up there. I'm kind of under the radar, up
The
there,
outlaw,
which is
huh?
good. This is good.
Love it.
Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You
Appreciate
bet.
it, Coach.
Thanks,
we'll be back
Coach.
with our
Yep.
teams of the week.
Who says a college degree is the only path to a fulfilling career? At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods with or without a degree. Gherkin provides a generous benefits package, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. We're looking for rock-solid performers to help build and reinforce the region's infrastructure. Whether you have construction experience or are just starting your career, apply now at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
A basketball podcast. Sorry,
Whoa,
I
you
almost
almost
made it
caught
through
you.
the whole year. I almost did it. I knew I was going to do it once, but Black Swamp Basketball Podcast presented by the Gherkin Company is going to hand out our teams of the week as we head down the tournament trail here.
Any input from either of you?
Well, we already handed it out to these guys, and we just had their former coach here,
Yeah,
St. John's.
and that's pretty
Had
much got me
another-
rolling to get Ed here. So that
Another
was a good
nice
thing,
week.
so.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the girls' side. They're in their district tournament now, and there's one team we've mentioned throughout our weekly sessions, and that's the Anthony Wayne Lady Generals. Now they are currently 20-4. They did win their NL side of the Buckeye League. They're 8-0 and undefeated. What impressed me about what they've done is simply the fact that it's a first-year coach. Because he Chandler Adams replaced Jamie Carter, who had a fantastic run there. I mean, I think she won in 7 years like 3 or 4 league championships and a similar number of state appearances. So she had it going big time. And he's a Lincoln View guy. I didn't realize his background, but he played on their 16 runner-up team out of Lincoln View. So Chandler Adams he was a JV basketball coach on the boys' side, and then they moved him over, and he's kept it going. So that's impressive. And I will add this, what helps you sometimes, as Coach alluded to, is having some Jimmies and Joes does help your cause. And he's got a player called Leah Pike. There's the Pike twins at Anthony Wayne, who will be eventually going to Ball State to play volleyball. But the one, Leah, she's a 20 and a 9 kid right now. She averages 20 points a game and nine rebounds. So that's impressive. Plus, she got 1,000 points here most recently, too. So, I got to give it to the Anthony Wayne ladies and wish them well. They play in the district final coming up here this weekend against Start on Saturday afternoon.
Congratulations to the Lady Generals.
Absolutely.
Boys side, I saw this today.
What you see?
CJ Fiddler, another sophomore. We have all these sophomores that are approaching 1,000 points. I think he's 49 away.
Yeah,
and there were some fiddlers that were pretty good back in the day for North Central.
Well, that was CJ, I think. And this is AJ now. Is that right?
This is CJ.
Okay, the other one, Chris was the dad then. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know who his parents are, but
Chris he's been a head coach throughout, so he knows what he's talking about, and he's got a really, like you mentioned, CJ's a really good player, and they say I saw one game of him, and in that game he had 4 dunks.
4.
They were pretty impressive. So he's got some ups. But let's go to our team of the week on the guy side. I'm just going to say local, right here in Liberty Center. What they did last week as they finished the season, they beat St. Francis, in the end of the season game. And they had beaten prior to that Wauseon, and so they got themselves a co-championship in the NWL, which is 2 out of the last 3 years that LC's done that under Greg Badenhop, and he's changed the mentality. He's made it. He's adjusted and adopted and embraced the football mentality and brought it to the basketball sport, and they've done a great job. They play tomorrow night at Northwood. If they can beat Northwood in their sectional game, they can then play next week in the district against a GMC champ if they would win Paulding. So I got to give them a lot of credit. Certainly think that they deserve. They had a great weekend, and they deserve the team of the week. Yeah. Plus the fact that as you look at the future, 4 of their main guys are all coming back. So good luck to the rest of the league.
Yeah, I saw Jack Badenhop, the freshman, was
first team. First team all league. Yeah. So LC, Greg Badenhop, congrats.
Is LC going to become a basketball town, Coach?
No. But there would be no worse place to coach basketball than Liberty Center, Ohio. And Greg Badenhop, to your point, Coach Krauss, it's unbelievable what he's done. And he hasn't tried to fight it.
No.
He's embraced it, as you said. And then he's, taken it to the hardwood and played to their strengths. And it's amazing what he's done.
And without Hunter Spangler, who got injured in the state championship game, played on a fractured ankle that night in Canton.
I really kind of cringe when people say it's a football school or it's this school or that school. My mentality is, why can't you be everything? We can be everything school. We can be good at this sport, and this sport, but it takes work. Mm-hmm. We got to be able to not be a selfish program and cooperate with the other 2 or 3 or whatever is out there. But I think you can do it all. Yeah. I think you can have success all across the board 3 seasons straight, and you'd have a complete program.
Yeah. See how far the Tigers can go and their co-champs in the NWL. Your alma mater and your former home. They may be down in Dayton here in a few weeks. Well, possibility, right?
Yeah, they got to play well, as Coach talked about. You just got to have a good game, and your main guys got to have solid games, and your other people have to know their roles and play them well. And that's what. And you better guard. You got to guard. You can have a bad quarter. I mean, Paul Wayne's a perfect example. You can be in the state final game and get shut out and not score a point in a quarter, but still win that game. Of course, the other team only had 2, so that makes a difference, But that's that defense mentality. If you play solid defense, you can maybe withstand a bad quarter.
Yeah,
so
you have to have a little luck to hoist that trophy.
Oh man, luck never hurts you.
Give us some more area teams. 'Cause I know you follow the boys probably a little bit more than the girls. Who can climb the mountain down in Dayton here in a few weeks?
That's a good question. I really haven't put a lot of thought to it. We obviously
Can I give you another week?
Delphus is
Yeah.
obviously right there. I mean, my golly, that's what I thought was interesting. They went south, and then watch everybody else in their sectional go avoid them. So those sectionals are just just full of tough teams. Same thing with Marion Local. Then D6, they're going to be a load for D6 team because they're so long and big and strong. Same thing happened there. They went south for their regional opportunity, and so that other bracket fed in, and that's why you have an LCC playing Spencerville come first round of games. So those things happen. But I can come back tomorrow next week, and maybe we can talk about some of the because there'll be in district play next week.
Yeah,
So,
get into that a little more next week.
Yeah, sounds great.
Thanks for joining us again this week.